Hey guys, I'm Kristen Howerton and I blog at Rage Against the Minivan.
I'm Paul Martin. I blog at Paula Sophia.
Paul and I are old friends coming from different political backgrounds and tendencies, and we speak weekly on the topic of politics.
Almost weekly.
Almost weekly. We missed last week, which, wow, what a week.
What a week to miss.
What a week. I mean, Paul, it happened. It happened. We were saying it couldn't happen, and it happened. Trump is the Republican nominee.
This is me being speechless.
Yeah. It's really funny because before we started filming, we were discussing what we were going to talk about, and my little 9-year-old daughter said, Trump won? And I said, no, he only won. There's 2 teams, and he won Paul's team.
Yeah.
And then you had this look of shame.
You loved saying that. You loved it. You just loved it. And she looked at me with this. She was truly confused.
Shock
wait.
and horror.
And she said, did you vote for him?
Yeah.
As only your daughter would, with such clarity. And I said, never, not for $1 billion. And I am one of the many influential, let me say this again. I am one of the Republicans, not one of the influential Republicans, like George W. Bush, Paul Ryan, George H.W. Bush, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, David Brooks, George Will. I mean, the list is so long of fellow Republicans that are appalled and in shock that Donald Trump has hijacked the party. That's what he did.
So, I mean, is he going to be the nominee?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like there's any possibility.
Because we talked about, I feel like a month ago we were like, there's no way there'll be a contested.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No, he's going to get to 1237.
Wow.
I mean, Cruz and Kasich are out. So there's no...
Okay, why did Cruz drop out?
Well, I think Cruz, it's a numbers game. And I think when he lost Indiana, there was a season of Trump doing badly, and but then he just killed it in New England, he killed it in New York, he killed it in Pennsylvania.
I mean, I get it, but I just feel like someone should have stayed in.
There's no possible way Ted Cruz, unless he knew for a fact that he wasn't going to be the nominee. And there's some discussion about a third party, a conservative coming in as a third party candidate. But everyone I'm listening to is saying it's too late.
It is too late, and it's so frustrating that he dropped out now, because I feel like had he or Rubio dropped out earlier, do you think the outcome could have been different?
I mean, that's those of you that have
been one clear.
Yeah, those of you that have followed this heard me saying 3 or 4 months ago that the only reason Trump's he's winning these states is because there are 5 candidates or 8 candidates, but we got down to 3, and Trump was getting 50% of the vote. 50% of the vote. Which, I'm on Facebook all the time, writing or commenting about Trump, and never do I see someone chiming in saying, I'm voting for Trump. This is the great mystery. Trump supporters are not willing to come out and say, this is my guy.
Where are they coming from?
Yeah, but...
I don't know. Well, I know a few people, but not
That doesn't surprise me on your end, but even on my end, amongst Republicans, I don't know one Republican who's voting for Trump, but other than my dad. That's another story, which is just...
Isn't your dad Mexican?
Yeah, please, no, let's not. Okay. Let's not. We have to have that one offline.
Yes, we do. Although I will tell you, I was chatting with another friend who is Cuban, whose parents were immigrants from Cuba, and her father is a Trump supporter as well. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
But yeah.
We have a lot of comments coming in.
Oh, okay.
We have, I'm a Republican voting for Trump. We have Trump is terrible. Crooked Hillary. Hillary's a crook. Not better than Hillary. Republicans are for big government too. Wow, yeah, there's some good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So we have a number of, speaking of influential Republicans, abstaining from the convention, which is unconventional.
Yeah. No pun intended.
Yeah. Has this ever happened?
Not that I know of. The convention is, this goes back, this is part of our history. This is where, all of the stalwart former presidents, congressmen come together and support their party and bring their influence. And we have both Bushes not showing. They're not coming to the convention. And it seems like, we were chatting a bit before, like, on one hand, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
But on another hand, it sends a tremendous message in terms of supporting your party. They're not coming. But I mean, Donald Trump, the night before I think it was the night before, the week before the South Carolina primary, was talking about how George W. Bush wasn't mistaken, wasn't ill-advised, but literally lied, knowing full. The accusation was that Bush knew for certain that they didn't have weapons of mass destruction, and sent American men and women into battle. And I heard this from Mark Shields from the Shields and Brooks News Hour. Shields is a Democrat, and he was appalled that Trump would accuse George W. Bush. I mean, it is the most outlandish accusation. Yeah. So you can see why Bush wouldn't.
I am not a fan of Bush, but I'm not going to go that far.
No, I mean, you would just have to be inhumane, and like a Pol Pot kind of, too. And so the Bushes aren't going.
Wow. Okay. We were also talking earlier about there are polls showing that Hillary and Trump are tied. I mean, this is the question I wrote on Periscope. Is this guy going to be our next president?
Well, I think anybody who is foolish enough to not think so is just
me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the last 6 months. I mean, the pundits that do nothing but spend 7 days a week studying these things were wrong by the dozens and dozens.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a degree of humility. And what's Trump going to do? He was masterful at beating 16 other Republicans to the nomination. What does he have up his sleeve in order to beat Hillary? And I think we all know what it is.
Racism?
It was already sexism.
Sexism, racism, I mean, all of that. Isms. Xenophobia, basically.
Someone says Trump is masterful.
He is. You know, it's interesting too. They were chatting on MSNBC last night about how many white nationalists have kind of come out of the woodwork. I mean, we know and white nationalist is code for racists. Let's not get that incorrect. This isn't like a pride of your culture. This is a pride of like I want this country to be white. Which, oh my gosh, there was a Christian leader who was using that language this week.
Nice.
Who was it?
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh. We didn't talk about it. Who did I talk to about it? Pat Robertson.
Pat Robertson?
Wasn't it? I should know. I'm not going to talk about it until I get it right. But It was someone.
Pat Buchanan is a politician that I wrote about on my blog, who was interviewed last week on NPR.
Maybe it was Pat Buchanan.
Who, how stupid are the American people? Who said, and I could pull it up and quote, but who said flat out that America needs a dominant identity, ethnic identity.
Yes.
That identity, when I was a kid, was in place.
Right.
It's now been changed because of the Mexicans, and we need to return to it. Yes. And the reporter, Rachel Martin, continues to say, do you know what you're saying? And he said, I know exactly what I'm saying.
Well, and I know exactly what he's saying, too, because he's using the talking points of the white nationalists. I mean, those are their talking points. And, you know, I had quite a run-in with the white nationalists earlier this year when they were kind of coming after me for being vocal about diversity. And, you know, I kind of got harassed by a group of them. And so I did a little dive into that underworld. And this is exactly how they talk.
Yeah.
I mean, they have forums where they teach you to use these talking points in some kind of effort to mask your racism in that language. But it's absolutely racism. So Hillary and Trump appear to be tied. At the same time, they are both, I heard a pundit say, one of the least desirable candidates that we've had in a very long time. Like their opinion polls, their opinion polls are very low. Yeah. So I don't think that the Democrats are super thrilled about Hillary either.
Well, and it's remarkable. There's never been an election like this before. You know, I think it's going to be a matter of which side despises the other more. Like, are Democrats more concerned about Trump being president, therefore they're going to lobby and come out and support Hillary? Or are Republicans going to be more horrified of Hillary?
Right.
Which is, we know for decades, Republicans don't like the Clintons.
No, especially not a female one.
I tend to have been wrong over and over again in the last 4 or 5 months. I'm wanting to think that amongst the Republican Party, Trump only has about 30 to 40% support.
Right.
He needs 90% support for Donald Trump to win the presidency, he needs 90% support of registered Republicans. Right. And right now he is leagues away from that. But again, that's on a national level. When you break it down to states, it gets more interesting or tricky.
So are Republicans going to vote for Hillary if there's two options and they don't want, people like yourself who really don't want Trump to win, are they gonna?
Well, there's a movement right now, Republicans for Hillary, that's certainly happening. I won't vote for Trump. I can't vote for Trump.
Would you vote for Hillary?
I might vote for Hillary. I mean, I might put myself in the camp that would vote for Hillary I certainly can't vote for Trump, and whether I'd abstain or vote for Hillary.
Abstaining is a vote for Trump, in a way.
You're having so much fun right now.
No, I'm not. This is not fun. None of this is fun.
No, it's not fun, but it's more of an awkward position for me to be in.
I mean, I will say this. As a Democrat, there are some values that I dislike in the Republican Party, and I feel that they have risen to the surface. And I feel like the Republican Party, as a whole, not individually, but as a whole, has shown its true colors in the election of Trump as their candidate. But I take no glee in it because it's quite frightening.
I think it's more tricky than that. I think that Trump, as a populist, has tied into the fact that jobs and our economy has been languishing for a long time. The reason it's been languishing is much more complicated than trade deals with China. We have a tech industry that has put tens of millions of people out of business.
Yeah.
Right. Right now, when you order something, no one's picking up the phone like they were 10 years ago. You're ordering it online. And so the situation with our economy is incredibly nuanced. We've lost tens of millions of jobs to computers, and our jobless and our economic situation is more complex than simply blame the Chinese, blame all the stupid people in Washington. And Trump has capitalized on a populist message.
Meaning, and ignorance. He's capitalized on
and ignorance. And this idea of, making America great. It's this nationalism that sounds great when you've had, from 9/11 on, we've had a tough time as a country, and here's Trump promising to make it great again in the most simplistic terms. And it's just, there's no possible way an executive is able to pull that off. Especially someone like Trump, who's going to have would have a horrible time in Congress. He's going to have a
horrible time. And you've got Paul Ryan standing up and saying he wants nothing to do with him.
Yeah, so some comments.
Yeah, some interesting comments.
Trump is lying the way Obama lied. No, whoever you are, no. In all due respect, I don't ever imagine or don't remember President Obama lying every 5 minutes in a pathological
when you really
way.
Analyze, when you look at like an unbiased website that looks at truth versus lies, I mean, he's way beyond.
Yeah, I mean, Trump's lies are they're so frequent that nobody checks them anymore.
No.
And whoever you are, Republicans are saying that. So when Obama ran, you didn't have half the Democrats not showing up to the convention because Obama was a joke. Yeah. You didn't have that, but with Trump you do. So there's a clear difference.
Yeah, I think Obama oversold the same way Bernie Sanders. I mean, it's like you are saying what you hope to do, and what you're actually able to do is another story. But he was optimistic.
Yeah, someone's commenting on reading Buchanan's book, State of Emergency, which I have read. And the big question regarding Buchanan's premise on America being essentially a white nation, it's based on a premise of white supremacy, number one, but even more so, by what do you define America to necessarily need to be white? Like, where is that written in the Constitution?
Yeah.
We have the whites will be a minority by 2042, and that's just the way it's going, whether we like it or not.
I just don't understand why that matters to anyone.
Well, and that's the issue. And Rachel Martin on NPR asked Buchanan that, and he referred to, when I grew up, it was a great place to be. And there's this mourning that many people of, white Caucasian race are having, that Hispanics, Asians, and blacks are going to be the majority, but there's really... This is America.
A great place to be.
And it's still a great place
That's
to
what
be.
my kid's school looks like, and it's great.
Yeah.
I like living here.
But Trump has tied in, he's tapped into that I think, to a large extent, latent, hidden frustration that people have, that this country is not going to be white like it was 100 years ago.
It's just an insane thing to fear. Insane. Yeah. Anyway, all right, well, I feel like we should be wearing funeral shrouds right now.
And the big thing is going to be tomorrow, Trump trying to rally and lobby and unify the party. And it's going to be so interesting in the weeks ahead to see what that looks like.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, the meeting with Ryan is tomorrow.
The meeting with Ryan is tomorrow. When is the convention?
Convention's in July.
Okay.
And between now and then, Trump is doing everything he can to try to unify a party of which many of the leaders loathe him, and many people like me too.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
It will be.
All right. We'll post this to both of our blogs. We'd love to hear your comments. Thanks.
Bye.